All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tonight we're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers because they are 7-2. They have now won 4 straight football games, and I will have to admit, the 28-27 road victory against Washington, that's a game Pittsburgh is on the other end every single time since Big Ben retired. You know, that's just how it's been. And it sucks because Pittsburgh's always had a really good roster. They've had talent, especially on the defense, but they've always had talent on the offense. George Pickens, Najee Harris, etc. But they're always losing these really good teams very tightly. And that was not the case on Sunday against Washington. And I get it. Most people want to say, well, it's the Washington Commanders. People were, really losing their minds. And as you saw, if you watch that game, Washington is a really good football team. But Russell Wilson has changed everything. I mean, he really has. Russell Wilson has changed everything. And I have nothing against, no ill will against Justin Fields. I got his jersey. Maybe I got to get a Russ one now. But he's changed everything. He gives you the big-time playability, and we're going to run through some statistics, all right? Russell Wilson is third in air yards per attempt at 9.9 since Week 7. Mike Williams was a great example of this new-look Pittsburgh Steelers offense. So Mike Williams got traded to Pittsburgh on Tuesday. He came in off the bench because Calvin Austin got banged up with the concussion, right? It was his ninth snap. It was a route he had never run. He was tracking it over his shoulder. It was so impressive. And now we're going to see an increase in Mike Williams. But I'm just telling you, man, Russ is the difference. Welcome back to the channel. Obviously, we're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers in tonight's video. But before we do, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. We post at least 2 Steelers videos every single week. Steelers fans love and appreciate you guys as always. If we try and get this video to 250 likes, folks, that would mean the absolute world to me. So Russ gives you the big-time playability. 17.6% of all of his snaps have been 20-plus yards downfield. On deep passes of those 20-plus yards in the air this year, 53.3% completion percentage, that is number 1 in the NFL, 90.7 PFF grade, 8th in the NFL, 5 big-time throws, and most importantly, 0 turnover-worthy plays. 0. This team is genuinely different. They truly do believe, now that they got Russ under center, who's won 3 straight football games, they believe they can do it. And I saw this great quote, I think it was from Mike DeFablo on The Athletic, and he was saying, since the Ben Roethlisberger era, unless TJ Watt put on his cape, Steelers lose that football game. They overcame a 10-point third quarter deficit because of 2 touchdowns right before halftime and after halftime. So they were down 24-14 early on in the third quarter. And keep in mind, I'm not declaring Pittsburgh as all right, they're winning the Super Bowl. They've won 4 games. They haven't lost with Russ Wilson. They're winning the Super Bowl games. I understand that only 3 of their 7 wins have come against teams with winning records, but big but, and yeah, this is a football video. Since Russell Wilson has stepped in for JF, the Steelers have averaged 382 yards and more than 31.7 points per game. Folks, I remember making a Steelers video every single week last year, and this team could not get over the 400-yard barrier. And I remember watching Falcons games with Desmond Ridder. This team's clearing 400 yards. And I'm just sitting here thinking, what is going on? And Kenny Pickett can throw a football. I don't think Kenny Pickett's, obviously he's the backup in Philly right now. I don't think, Kenny Pickett was the best QB for Pittsburgh to draft. But the point still stands, man. Russ gives you the big-time playability. He's finished with at least 0.14 EPA per pass play in all 3 starts for Pittsburgh this season. And unfortunately, once again, Justin Fields, I love him. He has never had more than 2 such games consecutively during his entire NFL career. He had only 1 game for Pittsburgh like that. It was against Los Angeles Chargers in Week 3. And Pittsburgh is ranked 11th in EPA per play. They're 8th in scoring drive percentage. They're 5th in passing EPA per play, while only recording 3 total turnovers in that span, all right? When Justin Fields was starting for Pittsburgh in 6 total games, they were 18th in overall EPA as opposed to 11. They were 12th in scoring drive percentage as opposed to 5th. And they were 12th in passing EPA per play with 5 turnovers as opposed to I actually I don't have the metric, but they only have 3 turnovers, and now they got 5. All right. This is a big stretch. So most people don't want to declare. Most people would agree with you. Pittsburgh's a good team. Russ has changed this offense. Russ has changed this team. The energy is there. Not saying the energy wasn't there with Justin Fields, but this team does feel like they have a higher ceiling now that Russ is QB1. But the second half is really interesting because you're playing a lot of teams where their offenses entering this season are really good. Baltimore, number 1. Washington, number 3. Already took care of them. Cincinnati at 6th, tied for 8th. The Kansas City Chiefs, the Philadelphia Eagles. The only one that is not a good offense is like the Cleveland Browns. So the defense is going to have to be ready to play, just like the offense is going to have to put points on the board. I think George Pickens said after the game, like, yeah, we're going against Washington. We got to score. We got to score. And so using Sunday's game against Baltimore as a good example, the defense got to come to play. And they have been here to play. They've been a little bit leaky, like the touchdown before halftime and the touchdown out of halftime, a little bit leaky. They have a defense that's currently ranked 6th in EPA per play. They're entering this week, giving up just 16.2 points per game, which is the second best in the National Football League. And I want to pinpoint Preston Smith because Alex Highsmith's going to miss a couple of games. He got injured the fourth quarter Sunday against Washington. He missed 3 games already with a groin injury. He's got 19 tackles, 3 sacks in only 6 games this season. Also, Nick Herbig is expected to return, but you just traded for Preston Smith for a 7th round pick, and he's about to see some playing time here. He's 6'5", 265 pounds. 23 defensive snaps on Sunday, 36% total. He logged his first sack as a Pittsburgh Steeler, and that's his bread and butter, man. 9 seasons he's been in the league, 66 total sacks, over 400 tackles, 69 tackles for loss. And, take it from a Packers fan, we shifted our scheme. He's not in a 3-4 anymore. So he actually said this quote after the game, just being back in the 3-4 system, it's like riding your favorite bike again. He's played only 54% of snaps when he was with my Green Bay Packers. That was the lowest since his rookie season, which was in 2015. So he decides to request for a trade. So my point is, Highsmith's injured again. You're playing some really, really good offenses, man, beginning with Baltimore. And then you do have kind of an interesting, nice little 3-game stretch where you play Cleveland, you play Cincinnati, and then you play Cleveland again. I mean, Pittsburgh can go 3-1 on this and be 10-3 heading into the final month of the regular season. This team's legit. Cameron Sutton's back. Preston Smith's acquired. Mike Williams acquired. Russell Wilson's got this team averaging over 30 a game. Things are feeling good, but I get it. We want to take it with a grain of salt because we want to see how they perform against a really good Super Bowl candidate in the Baltimore Ravens. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. We'll see you actually before Sunday. I was going to say give me a game prediction score, but give me a total team grade rating for this Pittsburgh Steelers team 9 games into the season. That's it for me. Peace.